See, health and fitness is about small victories over a long, long period of time. And if you give yourself a victory first thing in the morning, every single morning, that starts to feel really good. Welcome to First Responder Fitness with Carl Wimmer, where armor is forged through mental, spiritual, and physical preparation. Welcome to Frontline Fitness with Carl Wimmer. I am your host, and I am honored that you are with us today. So, you have decided you are ready to put on some muscle and to lose some fat. You have decided that you have been neglectful long enough, that you have stayed out of the gym, that you have made poor food choices and have really damaged your health for long enough, and it is time to make some changes. I congratulate you. I am so proud of you. Understanding that and deciding to make changes, that first step is so huge, and you should be just ecstatic and excited. I'm excited for you because that first step is the hardest one to take. But then you're like, okay, well, what do I do now? I know I need to make changes. I know I'm overweight. I know I'm obese. I know I have high blood pressure. I know that I have sleep apnea. I know that my lower back hurts and my knees hurt. And I know that I'm stressed beyond comparison. And I know that what I'm doing is very, very slow direction towards the grave. It's a slow road to my grave, and I've got to make changes. But what do I do? Well, my friend, you are in the right place, because I am going to jump into 5 things that you can do right now, that you can implement right now, that'll have immediate payoff. And I'm serious when I say immediate payoff. That doesn't mean that you're going to have 6-pack abs in 3 weeks at all. Okay? When you see things like that, just know that's a lie. Just know when you see, get shredded in 5 weeks, 6 weeks, they're lying to you. They're selling you, they're snake oil salesmen, they're liars, and I promise I will not lie to you. Frontline Fitness will never lie to you. We'll sometimes tell you what you don't want to hear, but we will never lie to you. We will love you with the hard truth. And the hard truth is this: it took you sometimes months, years, or even decades to get where you are in your health journey. You did not get where you are without making years of decisions that have gone past, that are way in the past. You know how somebody's living in large part by the way they look. If you see someone who is just shredded and jacked, you know, okay, immediately the victim in us says, oh, that's steroids, that's this. And you know, quite possibly it is in many people. But let's take the steroids out of it. Let's say they're natural and they're shredded, they're jacked. What do you know immediately about that person? You should know immediately that for years, they have consistently watched what they eat and have consistently exercised. No one wakes up and is all of a sudden jacked, shredded, and has a body like some Adonis. Okay, that doesn't happen by accident. That's why I always laugh when women say, "Oh, I don't want to lift weights because I don't want to get too bulky." You know how many people work their guts out, day in, day out, month in, month out, year after year, wishing that they would just get too bulky? You don't get too bulky by accident. So, these are not quick fix ideas, but these 5 things will change your life, and they'll change it quickly. So let's get right into it. Number one, cardiovascular exercise. Now, I split that into 2 different things. The first thing I suggest is that immediately upon waking up, wake up, drink some water, whatever, hydrate, and then go for a walk. If you have a dog, take your dog for a walk. If you don't have a dog, just set a timer. Walk away from your house for 20 minutes, turn around, go home. 15 minutes, whatever. Okay? Start with 20 minutes. Go for a walk. Now, there's a huge, huge mental reason I suggest you do this immediately after waking up. Before you eat anything, you go and you do it. The mental reason I suggest this is because it gives you an immediate victory. A victory. See, health and fitness is about small victories over a long, long period of time. And if you give yourself a victory first thing in the morning, every single morning, that starts to feel really good. It's a victory because you conquered yourself by getting out of bed and doing something physical. A walk's not that hard, but it's still something physical. It's something that other people aren't doing. It's something that you weren't doing. The second thing is it burns calories before you ever consume them. That's great. I love starting my day in an extra calorie deficit if I'm trying to lose fat. So I go for a walk, half-hour walk, come back, I've burned, well, maybe it's only 200 calories. Maybe it's 150 calories. Guess what? You just burned 150 calories before you consumed anything. Whereas normally you flip it on the head, you eat a bowl of Fruit Loops at 700 calories, a couple pieces of buttered up toast, if that, and off you go to work. And you didn't burn any calories, you just consumed 700 of them, sugary, processed calories. Get up and go for a walk. The second half of cardiovascular, and I split it into two, the early morning walk, is this. And this one's even harder. You need to get, according to the Centers for Disease Control, a minimum of 150 moderately intense cardiovascular minutes of cardiovascular exercise per week. 150 minutes of moderate intense cardiovascular exercise per week. For what? For health. To strengthen your heart. To lower and keep your blood pressure down. To help with your cholesterol levels. To help with your lungs and your entire circulatory system, your arteries, your veins, everything. They need cardiovascular exercise. 150 minutes a week. Now, the reason this is different than the walk is because a walk is, let's say, zone 1. You're not out power walking. You're just going for a walk. Zone 2 cardio, or moderately intense cardio, is where you're actually starting to breathe a little bit heavy. You're starting to, it's a little uncomfortable. It's not horrible, but it's like an elliptical machine. You're on the elliptical machine, and you can carry on a conversation with the person next to you, but it's not easy. And you have to stop often to take a breath. Okay? If someone calls you on the phone, yeah, you could carry on a conversation on the phone, but it would not be easy, and they would know that you're out of breath and exercising. Or something else, but we won't talk about that. Cardiovascular exercise, you need to get it. You need to start prioritizing it, especially if you want to lose fat. But that's not the main reason to do it. It's not the main reason to do it. Do not get yourself all sorts of confused on this. The main reason you do cardiovascular exercise is to strengthen your heart, strengthen your lungs, strengthen your arteries, and to produce a long life, to push that heart attack out of your life, to push heart disease out of your life, to render it less deadly. The secondary benefit of cardiovascular exercise is fat loss. But that is, it's minimal. Because you may have heard this before, but let me just make it very clear to you if you've never heard it before. You cannot out-exercise a crap diet. You can't. And you go out and you go jogging for 20, 30 minutes. And you're like, yes, man, victory. And the rest of the day, you gorge yourself on donuts, Twinkies, ho-hos, and crap. you are going in reverse. Yeah, the cardiovascular exercise is beneficial to your heart and your lungs and everything, but all the crap you're eating, it negates a lot of that. And it certainly is not going to help you lose fat. You must control your nutrition, which we'll get into in a second. But cardiovascular exercise, the point being, cardiovascular exercise should not be considered your number one way to lose fat. Abs are made at the table. If you want six-pack abs, you get them at the dinner table, not in the gym. They're made at the table, not in the gym. And if you want an example of this, get on the elliptical machine and pedal hard as you can, until you have burned 70 calories. And realize that it took you that much effort to burn an apple. An apple. Yes, our bodies are magnificently designed. And we consume energy, but we don't burn energy as easily as we consume it. And so we are not burning. You're not burning as much as you think you're burning when you're exercising. You need to just realize that. Cardiovascular exercise is for heart health, lung health, vascular health, cardiovascular system health. And as a secondary, it helps you lose fat. Now, I know I can hear some of you saying right now, how in the heck do I expect you to get up in the morning, go for a walk, and then do 150 minutes of zone 2 cardio every single week? Well, guess what? I don't. I expect you to do that plus, number 2 on our list, strength training, resistance training, 4 times a week. 3 times a week is okay, but ideally 4 times a week. Now, if you don't have any clue how to create a periodization schedule, how to do a split, a body split, how to set up a weight training routine, bear with us. We will have Coach Jade from Frontline Fitness in here. Coach Jade is a kinesiology major, graduated with a degree in kinesiology. She has certifications in nutrition and personal training, and is the general manager of a large fitness center, as well as an advisor to Frontline Fitness. We will have her on and tell you exactly what to do when it comes to creating a weight training routine. In the meantime, do something. Get up in the morning and do as many push-ups as you can possibly do. Get up in the morning and do as many air squats as you can possibly do. And then do some in the afternoon. Do some at night. Do something more than what you're doing now. It's not rocket science, but you also don't want to get hurt. And I should have prefaced this from the get-go. Everyone says go see your doctor before you start an exercise routine, and I think that's a really good idea. In a world where most people are so out of shape, so obese, so overweight, that for you to just start an exercise routine, if you don't consult a doctor first, that's not a good idea. Go talk to your doctor. Make sure that you are not going to give yourself a heart attack just by starting to exercise. You need to consult with a doctor first. This is not medical advice that I'm giving you today. It is fitness advice. So, cardiovascular exercise, 150 minutes. Start with the walk, 150 minutes of zone 2 cardio and weight training. So important. And you're like, well, how do I have time for that? My friend, you don't have time not to do it. Your life will be shorter. Your life will be more miserable. The last 20, 30 years of your life are going to be spent shuffling your way across the doctor's lobby just to go get more pills. Just to get another pill to fix the problem or the side effect of the pill that they gave you last week. That is no way to live. That is no way to live. You've got to prioritize your health. Your family has got to understand that health is what you only have one body. Once this one's done and worn out, you're done. You need to prioritize your health for now and for the long term. If you want to enjoy retirement, one of the reasons we get into public safety, into law enforcement, into firefighting is because we want the early retirement. We want to retire before we're 69 or 70 years old. But what good is your retirement if you're not healthy? It's no good. It's no good. Your retirement hobbies should be what you choose, not what are chosen for you because you have neglected your health. So that's important. Dr. Peter Attia, someone who I highly respect. I don't know him, he doesn't know me, but I really respect his work. He talks about something called I don't know if he calls it the geriatric Olympics or not, but that's what we're going to call it, the geriatric Olympics. And the idea behind it is this: every single one of us is in preparation, training for those Olympics when we get older. Okay? We're training for retirement. And he points out some amazing things, some truths, and it applies to our cardiovascular exercise, number one, and number two, our strength training. And what he says are things like this. Get out and make a list. Get out a piece of paper and a pen and write down, what things do you want to do in retirement? What would you like to do? Anything you want to do. Do you want to climb Mount Everest? I don't. You probably don't either. Let's pick an easier one. Do you want to be able to bend over and pick up your 40-pound grandchild when they come visit you? Grandma, Grandpa, they run up to you. Do you want to be able to scoop them up in your arms and give them a hug? Peter Attia points out that the fact that as you age, you start to lose so much muscle mass and strength that in your 40s or 50s, you should be able to bend over and pick up dead weight, double what you want to pick up when you're older, in your 60s, 70s, or 80s. So you need to be able to bend over and pick up basically a 80-pound bag of concrete. You know those bags of sackcrete? Be able to pick that up and hold it like a grandchild right now at your age. If you can't do that, then it is highly unlikely that you're going to be able to pick up your 40-pound grandchild when you're 70 or even in your 60s. Do you understand that? Do you understand where that risk is? You've got to be way better now because you will be losing muscle mass. Sarcopenia hits. I just read a recent article that said sarcopenia can affect people as early as 30 years old. Sarcopenia is where you start losing muscle mass, start losing muscle strength, and we all see it. Every single one of you has seen 60 and 70 and 80-year-olds who are shuffling down the street, barely able to walk, need a cane, need a walker. Maybe they're in a wheelchair. Maybe they're in a wheelchair. My mother was disabled the last 15 years of her life, not because of an actual disability, but because she was so inactive. She was unhealthy. She was obese, and she had no muscle. None. She was, God rest her soul, but the last 15 years of her life, she was handicapped by her own doing. By her own doing. She handicapped herself through inactivity and through terrible nutrition for years. Horrible decisions. She would sit and eat, and she wasn't always like that. She was a nurse. When I was growing up, she was a nurse. But as she retired, she became very obese. And she would sit in front of the TV and eat bags of chips. She wouldn't exercise. The most movement she would do is from her couch to the bed, from the bed to the couch. She wanted to do things. She would have loved to have gone to Hawaii again, as she did when she was younger. But she couldn't because she was handicapped at her own demise. She was the author and finisher of her own demise. And that's what we are if we choose a life where we're not weightlifting or doing cardiovascular exercise or eating like trash. And that brings me to number 3 on the list. If you want to lose fat and gain weight, gain muscle, if you want to lose fat and gain lean muscle tissue, you have got to prioritize protein intake. I'm not talking keto, carnivore, or cow testicle diet. Okay? Nothing nutty or crazy. Nothing crazy. At Frontline Fitness, we advocate a holistic approach to nutrition. All of the food groups that are healthy, emphasizing especially lean protein. I'm talking chicken, lean cuts of delicious beef, 95%, 97% lean ground beef. If you get 93%, drain the fat, rinse it off, and then, while it's cooking. Lean cuts of meat, fish, salmon, tuna fish. You need lean proteins. Eggs are fantastic. Of course, if you eat too many eggs, the calories kind of add up. But you need to emphasize protein. This does a number of things for you. When you are in a calorie deficit and cutting fat, and make no mistake, if you're not in a calorie deficit, you won't be losing fat. You are a human, and you are in the universe that is governed by laws. And some of those laws are called the first and second law of thermodynamics that deal with energy. And if you are not burning more energy than you are consuming, you will never lose the stored energy. You have to give your body a reason to use the stored energy. So that's beside the point at this point right now. By emphasizing protein in a calorie deficit, you start to preserve lean muscle mass. And that is so important. Because your body has a tendency, when you're in a calorie deficit, to not only burn fat, but to also burn a little bit of lean tissue. A little bit of water, and a little bit of muscle. And you want to minimize the amount of muscle loss whilst maximizing the amount of fat loss. And so emphasizing protein is the key. Protein and weight training are the keys to maintaining muscle mass while in a calorie deficit. How much protein do you need? Usually, people are going to tell you, well, 1 gram, let's say 0.75 to 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. Well, we live in America, so I don't know what a kilogram is. So basically, I just say this: 1 gram per pound of lean body tissue. So let's say you're a 250-pound man, but you have a lot of fat. You have that big belly, and you're obese. Okay? You probably have 60, 70 pounds of fat on you, 80 pounds of fat on you. Try to get at least 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body tissue. Try to aim for at least 200 grams of protein a day if you're that person. Figure that out. Just shoot for a gram and a half per pound of lean body weight. That will keep you in a position where your body has enough protein that it can save the lean protein as much as possible whilst you're in a calorie deficit. The other thing that protein does, and it's wonderful, is in regards to the thermic effect of food. You may have never heard of this, but let me just tell you. The thermic effect of food is this. You consume something, and your body takes energy, calories, energy, to digest whatever it is that you ate. Okay? We've all heard the urban legend that celery is a negative food. It's a negative calorie food because your body burns more calories than you consume when you eat celery. That's garbage, just so you know. That's absolute nonsense. It's a myth like the Easter Bunny. It's just not true. But there is truth in the fact that your body does use energy to digest and process food. And the one that takes the most energy? Protein. Protein. So by taking in protein, you are getting more bang for your calorie, more bang for your buck. Okay? You should be taking in all of the food groups, carbohydrates, protein, okay? You need them all. You need both. Don't fall for any of these fad diets that you won't stick to for more than 6 months or 8 months or a year. All the fad diets only work because eventually you're in a calorie deficit. Period. Period. And I know you don't want to hear that, but it's true. Your fad diet, your favorite fad diet, only works because eventually you're in a calorie deficit. So don't worry about fad diets. Eat healthy foods. Emphasize protein. That brings us to number 4, which is eat whole foods. Stop eating crap in a sack. Stop eating crap foods. You can't get away from processed foods. Okay, you can't. Maybe you can. I don't know. I can't. But you need to emphasize what we at Frontline Fitness call single ingredient whole foods. It's a very common term in the nutrition world. A single ingredient whole food. That means, a picture of that. A chicken breast, green beans, a salad with tomatoes and cucumbers. And okay, that's processed. There's a mix of different vegetables, but they're single ingredient whole foods. Okay, single ingredient whole foods. That is what you need to emphasize. You need to emphasize eating those types of foods most of the time. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. You should be eating 3-4 times a day, maybe a couple healthy snacks in between, depending on your caloric intake. But if you just emphasize healthy, single ingredient whole foods, it'll absolutely change the way you feel almost immediately. You do that for 2 or 3 weeks and you're going to feel way different. Your gut biome is going to feel better. Your skin will probably look better. You're going to just feel better because you're not weighed down by all the processed garbage that you're used to filling yourself full of. So that is so important. That's number 4. Start eating that way. If you find yourself having a hard time hitting your protein goals, you'll find it easier if you emphasize eating whole foods, single ingredient whole foods, because a small amount, 4-ounce thing of chicken or a 4-ounce lean sirloin, that's pure protein, brother. That is pure protein. And I know you firefighters know how to freaking barbecue. Can't tell you the amount of times I'm on duty as a patrolman and I drive by the firehouse and there they are out roasting something that smells absolutely divine. I think it's a prerequisite to have a minor in culinary arts to be a firefighter. I'm telling you, I love it. So start making good choices when you're throwing stuff on that barbecue. Lean cuts of meat, steaks, lean burger. Avoid the crazy sauces and that kind of thing. Lean burger. Chicken. Something that is helpful that's going to increase your protein. Something that is a single ingredient whole food. Number 5, and this one's going to hurt, especially you firefighters, everyone in our field, firefighters and cops, and that is sleep. It doesn't matter how hard you work out. It doesn't matter how good your nutrition is. All of those things are less effective if you're not sleeping well. You have got to start prioritizing sleep. And that means stop drinking the 6-pack of beer before you go to bed. Alcohol affects your sleep. You can't tell me it doesn't. It affects your circadian rhythm. It affects the way you rest. You wake up in the middle of the night. You feel like garbage. Okay? You need to prioritize sleep. You need at least, experts say 6.5 hours, Bullcrap. You're an athlete. You are working out now. You're doing your cardiovascular. You're lifting weights. You're watching your diet. You need 8 hours of sleep a night. You need to get through 2 complete REM cycles, 2 complete sleep cycles per night. You need to prioritize sleep. That is so critical. You can pretty much throw your muscle gains and your fat loss gains, we'll call those gains, losing fat, out the window if you are not sleeping well. Your body will rebel. Now that's hard when you're a fireman or a policeman because you're on swing shifts, you're on rotating schedules. I get it. I get it. But you've got to figure out how you can get 8 hours of good, solid sleep per night. Now, if you're a fireman and you're on duty, you have to go to the fire alarms. But when you're off duty in your home, prioritize sleep. Get a little extra. Prioritize your rest. Let your body rest and recuperate. So critically important. So that's it. That's it. Cardiovascular exercise, starting with a 30-minute walk first thing in the morning before you eat anything, followed by 150 minutes of moderately intense cardiovascular exercise per week. Start weight training, resistance training, 3, preferably 4 times a week. Prioritize protein. Eat whole, healthful, single-ingredient foods. Start getting rid of the crap in your food. Go to your pantry and say no more. Get pissed off if you have to. Say, this does not serve me anymore. That bag of powdered donuts does not serve my purposes anymore. That giant bag of greasy potato chips does not serve me anymore. And just have a celebration as you crush it and stomp it into your garbage can. Get rid of it. Get rid of the temptations. Prioritize your protein, eat whole healthful foods, and get enough sleep. Those are the top 5 things that you can implement today. But this is critical. You know, how many times people say you can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink. That's applicable to this. I cannot do it for you. You have to be ready to discipline yourself to do these things. I promise you, if you implement those 5 things and you start doing them consistently, your life will change. 100% guaranteed. I don't charge you anything to listen to this, so there's no money back guarantee. But if I charged you, there would be a money back guarantee because it is 100% guaranteed. If you start doing those things, your life will change for the better. You will start getting stronger. You'll get healthier. You'll get off of your CPAP machine eventually, like I did. You'll get off your high blood pressure medication eventually. Your blood pressure will come down. Your fat will come off. Your muscle, you'll start to see shape in the shoulders and the chest, and you'll see ripples, and you'll be like, wow, I can't believe it. And you'll start to feel better, and you'll start to feel alive, and you'll start to have a whole new aspect and outlook on life and outlook on the future. But you have to do it. Listen to me. I can't do it for you. I have to do it for me. You have to do it. I've just given you the top 5 things to start doing tomorrow. You can implement these tomorrow. But you have to do it. No one's going to come and take you by the hand and lead you and force you to do this. Damn it, you have to care about yourself enough to make that decision. You have to care enough about your job and about your partners in the police department and in the fire department. You have to care enough about your own personal safety, and you have to care enough about your longevity and your future prosperity to do this. If you don't care enough, you're not going to do it. You have to care enough. So dig in, my friends. Dig in. Find that inner warrior. Find that inner athlete and start implementing those 5 things today. I'm cheering for you. I am cheering for you. And I want to hear about your successes. So, comment below. Just say, I'm in. Wimmer, I'm in. I am in. 100%. Put your name and say, I am in. If you're watching this on YouTube, comment below. Go all in. Dedicate yourself. You can do it. Everyone here at Frontline Fitness believes in you. Until then, be good to yourself. Be good to others. And as always, stay safe.